Welcome to our channel, where we break down complex topics into digestible chunks, with a dash of humor and sprinkle of wit. Before we dive into the world of taxes, we'd like to remind you to hit that like button if you enjoy our content. Don't forget to comment below with any tax-related questions or topics you want us to cover in future videos. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update from us. We appreciate your support, and your interaction helps us create better, more helpful content for you. Now let's get started with our tax season guide. Hello folks, here's a little something to kick things off. Why don't you ever want to play hide and seek with a tax auditor? Because good luck hiding when they can't even count. Yes, we're starting with a lighthearted tax joke because why not? We all need a good laugh, especially when we're about to delve into a topic as riveting as the 2023 tax season. But don't worry, we're not here to bore you with endless tax codes and legal lingo. We'll be your guide to navigating the labyrinth of tax season, breaking down the complexities into bite-sized, digestible nuggets of knowledge. With a dash of humor and a sprinkle of wit, we'll make this journey as entertaining as possible. So, whether you're a seasoned tax filer or a rookie just starting out, stick around. We promise it won't be as dreadful as you think. Now that we've warmed up with a joke, it's time to dive into the sea of tax knowledge. So, what exactly is this ominous tax season we keep hearing about? Well, let's clear the fog. Tax season is that time of the year when both individuals and businesses prepare their financial statements and reports from the previous year in order to file their income taxes. It traditionally starts on January 1st and runs through to April 15th. Yes, you heard that right, the Ides of April is when Uncle Sam comes knocking, but don't worry, it's not as scary as it seems. Because tax season is not about being blindsided by financial obligations, it's about understanding how and why we contribute to the functioning of our society. Understanding tax season is crucial because it affects everyone, from the young adult who just landed their first job, to the owner of a small business, or even the CEO of a large corporation. It's the time when we all have to step up and fulfill our financial responsibilities as citizens. Now, you might be thinking, why is it so important? Well, the funds collected during tax season are what keep our country running. They're used to build roads, fund schools, maintain public services, and so much more. In essence, tax season is our opportunity to contribute to the common good and ensure a better future for everyone. Moreover, tax season is also the time to take stock of our finances, identify potential tax-saving opportunities, and plan for the future. It's like spring cleaning for your wallet. And who doesn't love the feeling of a clean, well-organized wallet? But here's the kicker. If you miss the tax season deadline, you might face some penalties, which is why it's essential to mark your calendars and be prepared. Tax season might sound scary, but armed with the right knowledge, it's as easy as pie. Speaking of pie, let's slice into the different types of taxes. Income tax, sales tax, property tax, the list goes on. But what do they all mean? Let's break it down, shall we? First up, we have income tax. This is the biggie, the one that probably springs to mind when you hear the word tax. It's a percentage of your earnings that you pay to the government. It comes in two flavors, federal and state. Federal income tax is the same across the board, while state income tax varies depending on where you live. Next, we have sales tax. This is a little extra you pay when you buy something, whether it's a brand new car or a pack of gum. The rate varies from state to state and sometimes even city to city. So, if you're wondering why your shopping bill is a bit higher than you expected, sales tax might be the culprit. Then there's property tax. If you own property, whether it's a house or a piece of land, you're likely familiar with this one. It's based on the value of your property and is typically used to fund local services like schools and public safety. We also have payroll taxes, which are split between employers and employees and go towards funding Social Security and Medicare. If you've ever studied your pay stub and wondered about those FICA deductions, well, now you know. Lastly, let's not forget about capital gains tax. If you sell an investment or real estate for more than you bought it for, you'll typically owe capital gains tax on the profit. There are, of course, many more types of taxes out there, from estate taxes to gift taxes to excise taxes. The tax world is a vast and sometimes confusing place, but with a little knowledge and preparation, you can navigate it like a pro. Now you know your taxes like the back of your hand. But knowing is only half the battle. Let's move on to filing. Filing taxes might sound as fun as watching paint dry, but it's a crucial part of adulting. So let's get down to business and learn how to file taxes. First things first, you need to gather all your necessary documents. This includes any W-2 or 1099 forms that you've received from your employer or clients. These documents provide information about your annual earnings and any taxes already withheld. If you're self-employed, you'll need to keep track of your income and expenses throughout the year. Next, you'll need to identify your filing status. This could be single, married filing jointly, married filing separately, head of household, or qualifying widow with dependent child. Your filing status affects the amount of tax you owe, so it's important to choose the right one. Now that you have all your documents in order and your filing status determined, it's time to fill out your tax return. The most common form used is the 1040. There are different versions of this form, so make sure to choose the one that suits your situation the best. You'll need to report your income, calculate your adjusted gross income, and determine your tax liability. Then, you'll subtract any tax credits you're eligible for, and add any additional taxes you owe. If you've had more tax withheld than you owe, congratulations, you're due a refund. If not, you'll need to pay the difference. The deadline for filing taxes is typically April 15th. However, if that date falls on a weekend or a holiday, the deadline will be the next business day. Keep in mind, if you need more time, you can file an extension. But remember, an extension to file is not an extension to pay. You'll still need to estimate and pay any taxes you owe by the original deadline to avoid penalties and interest. So how do you actually file your tax return? There are three main methods: paper filing, using tax software, or hiring a tax professional. Paper filing is the old-fashioned way and involves mailing your completed tax return to the IRS. Using tax software is a popular method, as it can guide you through the process and help you identify any potential tax deductions or credits. Hiring a tax professional is a good option if you have a complex tax situation or if you're not comfortable doing it yourself. Filing taxes is not a one-size-fits-all process. It's important to understand your own financial situation and choose the method that works best for you. And remember, the sooner you start, the sooner you can get it over with. With that, you're ready to file your taxes. But wait, there's more. Let's talk about tax deductions. Want to pay less on your taxes? Who doesn't? Here's where tax deductions and credits come in. Picture this. You're at a yard sale. You spot a vintage record player you've always wanted, and it's priced way less than you expected. That's a bit like tax deductions and credits. They lower the price you have to pay in taxes. Now let's break these two down. Tax deductions reduce the portion of your income that's subject to tax. Imagine you're baking a cake and your income is the flour. A tax deduction is like removing a cup of flour before you start mixing. The cake, or your taxable income, ends up smaller. Some common tax deductions include mortgage interest, student loan interest, and charitable donations. It's like getting a discount for doing things you may already be doing. On the other hand, tax credits are a dollar-for-dollar reduction of your tax bill. Back to the yard sale analogy, it's like having a coupon that takes off a fixed amount from your total. For instance, if you owe $2,000 in taxes and you have a $500 tax credit, you'd only owe $1,500. Common tax credits include the child tax credit, earned income tax credit, and the credit for the elderly or the disabled. These are like golden tickets, reducing your tax bill directly. Now, how can you make the most of these deductions and credits? The first step is to understand what's available. There's a whole smorgasbord of potential deductions and credits out there, but not all will apply to your situation. It's like going to a buffet. You see a lot of food, but you can't possibly consume everything, so you pick what suits your taste and dietary needs. Next, keep good records. Just like how you keep receipts to track your expenses, you'll need to keep records of your deductions and credits. This can be in the form of receipts, bank statements, or even a mileage log if you're claiming vehicle expenses. It's like having a treasure map, leading you to the gold of tax savings. Lastly, consider seeking professional help. Tax laws can be as tricky as a jigsaw puzzle, and a tax professional can help you put the pieces together. They can guide you through the process, ensuring you take advantage of all the deductions and credits you're entitled to. It's like having a personal guide on a safari trip, making sure you don't miss any of the sights. With those tips, you're not just filing taxes, you're mastering them. But what happens if you miss the tax deadline? Scene script. Life happens. And sometimes that means missing the tax deadline. But what then? Well, let's dive into the world of late filing and penalties. Now, we're not advocating for tardiness, but it's important to know the possible consequences if you find yourself in this situation. Firstly, it's crucial to understand that missing your tax filing deadline doesn't mean you're off the hook. The Internal Revenue Service, or as we fondly call them, the IRS, imposes a failure to file penalty. This penalty is usually 5% of the unpaid taxes for each month or part of a month that a tax return is late. But wait, there's more. If your return is over 60 days late, there's also a minimum penalty, which is the smaller of $100 or 100% of the unpaid tax. Now you might be thinking, I'll just pay late then. Not so fast. There's a separate penalty for paying late, typically 0.5% of your unpaid taxes per month. And let's not forget about the interest that accrues on both the unpaid amount and the accumulated penalties. But don't despair. If you're late, there are options. The IRS offers installment agreements for those who can't pay their tax bill all at once. They also provide an option for an offer in compromise, which means they might accept less than the full amount due in certain situations. It's also worth noting that penalties may be waived for taxpayers who can show reasonable cause for their failure to file or pay on time. So, if you've got a good reason, don't be afraid to plead your case. Remember, the key to avoiding all these penalties and interest is simple. File your taxes on time and pay as much as you can. After all, nobody enjoys parting with their hard-earned cash, let alone paying extra because of late filing. So, while it's best to file on time, know that there are options if you're late. And that's a wrap on our tax season rundown. We've laughed, we've learned, and most importantly, we've conquered the tax season together. As we wrap up our tax season journey, let's take a moment to reflect on the key insights we've gathered along the way. We began our journey by understanding the tax season. It's that time of the year when we all become number crunchers, striving to meet deadlines and ensure we're in the good books of the tax man. It's not exactly a season of joy, but with the right knowledge, it doesn't have to be a season of dread either. We then delved into the types of taxes. We learned that not all taxes are created equal. There are federal taxes, state taxes, and sometimes even local taxes. Each of these has its own set of rules and regulations, and knowing the difference can save you a lot of headache. Next, we talked about how to file taxes. Whether you prefer the traditional paper method or the increasingly popular electronic filing, we covered it all. We also touched on the importance of getting help when you need it. Whether it's from a tax professional or a trusted software, don't hesitate to reach out. Tax deductions and credits were our next stop. We unraveled the mystery behind these two terms, explaining how they can significantly reduce your tax liability. We also highlighted some common deductions and credits you might be eligible for. Finally, we discussed late filing and penalties. We made it clear that while procrastination might be tempting, it comes with a hefty price tag. We emphasize the importance of filing on time and the consequences of failing to do so. And there you have it, folks, your cheat sheet to the 2023 tax season. Remember, taxes may not be fun, but they don't have to be scary. With the right knowledge, you can navigate through tax season like a pro. So, don't let the tax man intimidate you anymore. Until next time, stay savvy. Before we wrap up, here's a quick reminder, folks. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button. Your likes let us know that we're on the right track, and it helps other tax-savvy folks like you find our content. If you have any thoughts or questions about tax season, feel free to drop them in the comment section below. We love hearing from you, and your input helps us improve our future content. And lastly, if you haven't done so already, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. By subscribing, you won't miss out on any of our future videos filled with helpful tips and tricks for mastering all things finance. Your support is what keeps us going and helps us create more content like this. Thank you for joining us on this tax season adventure. We hope to see you again soon. Until then, stay savvy, folks.